Put your hands in the air and wave them around like you just don't care. And welcome to another walkthrough Let's Play by a blind man, whatever you want to call it. And today I have for you Hellblade. And this lovely chick on our screen is Sanoa. She will be our main protagonist throughout this endeavor. I've got a bit to talk about, but we'll get into it as we get into the gameplay, so let's go ahead and get started. Yes, game, I know. God!
Hello. Who are you? Doesn't matter. Welcome. You're safe with me. I'll be right here, nice and close so I can speak without alerting the others. Let me tell you about Senua. Her story has already come to an end, but now it begins anew.
What's happening? It's breathing. Dead. It's breathing. It's breathing. He knows she's getting closer. He can feel her coming closer. She's getting closer. They're watching. They're watching. They're watching.
This is a journey deep into darkness. There will be no more stories after this one.
What is she doing? Why is she doing this? They're watching. Why doesn't she turn back?
So as you can hear, there's going to be a lot of voices and a lot of chatter throughout this game.
He's already dead.
I'm going to talk over a lot of it. I'll try not to talk over anything that might be interesting.
Oh, how rude of me. I never told you of the others. You hear them too, right? They've been around ever since the tragedy. Well, that's not quite true. Some are old, some are new, but they've changed. I think the darkness changed them, just like it changed her.
I'm not sure what exactly the darkness is, but we'll hear about that
Can you see them?
in next video as well. Some of these voices will talk about going throughout the woods and dealing with the darkness.
Look, up ahead. You see it too?
I assume she suffered a tragedy and now she's suffering a mental
It is real
illness.
after all. She's finally arrived in the land of mystery.
It's documented this game has a lot to do with mental illness.
Northmen call
I assume schizophrenia, but I don't know for sure. I'm not a connoisseur of mental illness, but apparently the developers of this game hired somebody to get a sense of realism for the disorder that she's dealing with. So I assume some sort of tragedy happened, and it either caused a psychotic break or exaggerated her disability.
Look around and you'll see them. The drowned, the sick, the slain. Here they lie, rotting in the fields and rivers of hell. But the dead don't always lie still here. This is not a place of rest.
This game is very atmospheric. There's a lot of rowing to start this game out.
They're going to do that to you.
Pretty much this video is going to be walking simulator. Apparently most of this game is a walking simulator. There are some puzzles and there is some combat.
Stop. Can you feel them watching?
Apparently it's best to listen to this game with headphones, but of course I'm going to be talking over a lot of this anyways, so it doesn't really matter. In editing, I listened to this with headphones and honestly it didn't really do much for me.
What is she thinking?
This game has really good atmosphere.
I can tell you. She's afraid. Wouldn't you be? You'd think she would get used to it.
I'm not sure if these voices are meant to show how annoying a mental illness can be,
Darkness. It just
but they are
builds,
quite annoying.
growing stronger, towering over her. You might try and ignore
I'm sure they're meant to show off just how mentally ill she is,
She's there, just
but
outside.
They just annoy
When you're
me.
most vulnerable.
Partly because they mess with my ability to talk over everything.
knows
I have to try to figure out what's important or what might be important.
Is all you need to see its suffocating power.
So right now we're just rowing around. I'm not sure if we're on like a river of the damned or what. But we're trying to make our way to Helheim. If you saw my God of War 4 playthrough or are familiar with Norse mythology,
You might think she's
there's going to
brave
be a
go
lot
on
of
this
that
journey
in
on
this
her own,
game.
but it isn't bravery that drives her.
So I
Bravery
assumed
only
this all
means
happened
something to those
before
afraid of
Kratos showed
death.
up. Or Teal'c, as I like to call him in the newest game, because he was voiced by Christopher Judge, who played Teal'c in Stargate. This game was made by Ninja Theory. They made Heavenly Sword, a game I did an LP of. They also made that imitation Devil May Cry game, which is unfortunate because the gameplay for that game was pretty solid, but the story was ass considering they were doing a reboot for that Devil May Cry series. If it was its own thing, it would have been a lot better. Still terrible, the story still sucked, but it would have been a lot better.
What is she looking at? What is she leaving behind? I know what she's thinking. I hear her thoughts. It's not too late to get into the boat and go back. No one will judge her. No one will ever know. Oh, she heard us. There's no going back.
You can't do it.
Senua pushes away a world that conspired to cause so much suffering. There's nothing to go back to, and worse to look forward to.
This game has a sequel.
Why don't you join
It's
us?
on a console that I'm likely not going to own. Although if I do buy a modern console, it would be the Xbox. So if I do get a console, then I will play that. We got the first of these lore stones.
Look really clearly. Focus, Emma. Focus.
It takes me a bit
Focus.
to
I can see.
figure out the
What happens
controls
if you
R2 on the PS4. Come on.
Do not forget my stories, Senua. Because your darkness comes from hell, and your fate lies there. They say the burning of a corpse will take you straight to Hela's gate. But gods and the living will follow this path. You must leave the Isles of Orkney across the eastern sea and find a road that leads north.
I didn't realize that we needed to stand close to that thing in order to get the full story. Otherwise, I would have. For the rest of those that I pick up, I will stand next to the thing until it's done talking. The guy speaking, I believe, is some
The darkness is
spirit that we're taking along with us.
yearns for life, hungers for it. It's like a pack of wolves in a hunt.
No, she's not stopping as long as she can find her way. And she's being controlled by a blind man, so we'll see how that goes. It is going to cause issues in this LP, I can tell you that much right now.
Not this time.
It is pretty amazing how this game looks considering it's made by an indie developer.
Can you see it?
The land of mist and fog.
He's in there.
The old fool was right.
Is he?
What was it he said? The river of knives across which lies the halls of hell. The place they call Helheim.
He's lost. He's lost. Where are you? I hear you. He's there, you know it.
There's no doubt about
He's
it.
lost.
The source of the darkness is in Helheim, and the goddess Hela holds his soul there. Her dear beloved, Dillian.
So her beloved, I assume it's either her child, her boyfriend, her husband. I'm not exactly sure. I assume her husband or boyfriend. And she's being held by Hela, who you might have seen in Thor Ragnarok,
Doing this for him. She wants to rescue him.
denizen of Hell, or Helheim in this case.
The bridge to Helheim.
So we gotta go into Hell to save this dude's soul.
Forget its name. She forgets too. But she does remember that only the dead may cross it.
I feel bad for anybody with any kind of mental illness that causes them to hear this many voices going off all the time. That would get really irritating, and I can easily see how that would drive somebody mad. Those folks have my sympathy. That would be really irritating.
The Northmen speak of 9 worlds. The world of men they call Midgard. Sky gods dwell in Asgard. The gods of earth, harvest, wind, and sea dwell in Vanaheim. The good elves dwell in Alfheim. The evil ones dwell in Svartalfheim. The mountain giants dwell in Jotunheim. The fire giants dwell in Muspelheim. Niflheim is the world of ice and darkness. Only the dead dwell in Helheim. And that is where
Of
you must
course,
travel.
because that's the most dangerous area. These voices will also give us game tips. They talk about climbing and go up. That's actually a really interesting way of doing in-game dialogue to tell the player where to go. It's a lot better than the character just saying out loud, "Oh, I need to climb up," or "There's got to be a way up here somewhere," or "There's got to be a way around this."
Are you scared? You should be scared.
I'm thinking of games like Tomb Raider, Uncharted, Evil Within 2 even, as much as I like that game.
You're not safe. Stop. Get down.
I'm trying to figure out what button to press. God! Give me a break.
Why did she do that? She shouldn't have done it. She can't go back now.
No, this is it. The hidden
We're about to see a cutscene that goes into that old fool they talk about a little bit. I might have talked over that.
It's going to hurt you. It's dangerous.
Don't kill me. I'm not one of them. Don't listen. I was just hiding. I find I live longer that way. Don't listen. I'll never let the bastards catch me again. Never! Wait. Who are you? It's just a memory.
Drew? Is that you?
For my tales of the Northmen, they call me Druth. A liar.
He's lost.
An old fool. Druth is my truth.
It's good to see you again. You kept your vow.
Guide you in this life and the next. I will tell you my stories of hell, if I may walk with you.
Tell me your stories again, old friend. I'm listening.
The runes seal the gates to hell. Focus your inner eye.
I can see one.
Hold it in your mind's eye. Find one like it to open the gate. It's near.
Awesome.
Focus.
So this is our first puzzle. We just need to focus on this thing.
And the gate will open.
And that should unlock the door.
The gate is open. Go through the gate.
Go through it.
It's dangerous.
What's behind the gate?
It's not safe.
Hooray! We got through the door, the first of many of these type of puzzles, the easiest as well.
I spent 6 years enslaved in hell. But I watched the Northmen, learnt their ways.
I know you did.
You listened when everyone else laughed. My people paid a heavy price. Carry my stories with you, and together we will make the Northmen feel our fury.
Those elves they talked about earlier, they were not so nice to us when we were Kratos going through Elvenheim or whatever that place was called.
Another voice joins us. She once tried to make them go away. Pretend they weren't real. But what good is that? When we are always...
Well, if I started hearing voices, I would be trying to shut them out as well.
I guess it's the same.
I'm not sure if you can fail this,
You can stand on
if
the
it's a
edge.
balancing segment or not. I know we'll have a balancing segment next video where you can
You
fail
know
it.
that
I
death
did
is
once.
here, waiting for you to make that little slip.
But either way, I didn't fail this, so
You can't
I guess
just
balancing will be a thing. An annoying thing, but a thing nonetheless.
The world of the dead is ruled by the giantess, Hela, daughter of Loki. The gods feared her bloodline, bad on her mother's side, and yet much worse on her father's. So, as a child, the All-Father cast her down into Helheim and gave her power over those who die of sickness, age, hardship, and self-slaughter. In all of the 9 worlds, only Hela can resurrect the dead. To Hela, your Dillion was sacrificed, and with her you must bargain.
Is it just me, or is Norse mythology way overused in fiction? We have it in this game, we have it in Tomb Raider, we have it in the newest God of War game, although they're making another one, which I assume will also be Norse mythology, based on a cutscene that I cut from my LP because I didn't want any sort of cliffhanger. They used it in the Marvel movies, especially with Thor and all his nonsense, but that made its way to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a little bit. Also in Stargate SG-1, which is where I first heard of that stuff.
Stay back. Look at it. You have to open it.
The gate to Helheim divides the living from the
Not
dead.
to mention a PS2 game called Rune Viking
Is that the
Warrior,
voice of Hela herself?
which was awful.
The half-rotten goddess that rules over Helheim. Whatever horrors lie behind that door, she must find him. Shh. Someone's here. You took him from me. I beg you, let him go. I'll give you what you want. I won't resist anymore. Just give him back.
And here we have our first taste of combat. It's done in a kind of different style. If you can perfect guard them, then they're a lot easier to deal with. I'm going to have mixed results in this situation. But as you can see there, if you perfect guard them, they're a lot easier to deal with. These being the first baddies we have to face, they're not too bad. This part here you can't win, so it doesn't really matter. As you can hear, the voices will give you game advice, which is really interesting.
A vision of what's to come. Poor Senua. The darkness does not bargain. It does not reason. It is rot. And now it has taken hold. It will spread towards her head, the seat of the soul, until there is nothing left of her. All of her suffering will have been for nothing. It's just a matter of time.
She's a very angry woman, and a bit masculine for my taste. Anybody familiar with my channel, you know I tend to make sexual comments about female characters. I will not be doing that about this one. Not that she's not a beautiful person on the inside, just she's definitely not my type. But she's our protagonist for this game, so we're going to hope to get her through this.
The hardest battles are fought in the mind. That is what Dillian taught her. With every defeat, the dark rot will grow and soon it will take her soul. But for now, at least, she still has control of her mind. And she will fulfill her vow, whatever the cost.
I get kind of a Heavenly Sword vibe from this game.
Listen to me, Senua. The goddess Hela lies behind the gate to Helheim. To open the gate, you must first face the gods that guard it. The god of fire, Surt, and the god of illusion, Valravn. Spill their blood to open the gate to Helheim and enter the land of the dead.
We're used to dealing with gods. We've played God of War before.
So, it won't open. How will she get through? Why won't it open? Why can't she open it? She needs to
The Northmen say that in the beginning there was nothing but darkness. Bitter cold to the north, fiery hot to the south. They say the cold formed ice, which melted from the sparks from the south. The power of the darkness gave life to the dripping ice, and the first giant was born, and was named Ymir. The ice continued to drip, and the power of the void gave life to it, and it became a cow, whose milk fed the giant. That's right, a cow. But you weren't expecting that.
Is that like Jean-Luc Picard? Because he was great in The Next Generation, but terrible in the movies and even worse in the newest series.
Valravn, ancestor of the seers and master of ravens.
He hunts his prey with his powers of illusion and feasts on their remains.
It's a he?
Follow the path to Valravan and defeat him in battle to earn his mark. The gate to Helheim cannot be.
Well, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to follow through his illusions and take him down. Oh, yeah. We won't be doing that this video, though. Although we are going to start the journey. Just because. Next video is going to be long enough as it is. Anything I can do this video is going to help that out a little bit. So I get stuck on the environment quite a bit here. If you're new to my channel, I am visually impaired, blind, whatever you want to call it. So I do run into these issues quite a bit. So we need to get another one of these lore stones, which is right over here.
Ymir was a frost giant, a being of darkness, and all his sons and grandsons were dark after him. Of his daughters and granddaughters, some were monstrous, but others fair. But there was another who came from the ice. Buri. In shape, he was like a man, big and powerful. His son, Bor, took a fair giant to be his wife, and they had 3 sons. Odin was the eldest, and the Northmen hold him to be the foremost of the gods, the All-Father.
I hope we'll be taking Odin down in the next God of War game. I did not like the last one we had. Hopefully they will improve on that. Although so many people came over that game that I have a bad feeling the next one will be just as lame as God of War 4, which they were too chicken shit to even call it God of War 4. We'll see. I'm sure it will come out for PS4, so I should be able to play it. And to bitch about it.
Illusion hides the path to Valravan. Don't trust your eyes.
Okay, so we're going to get the introduction to a mechanic for this section. We'll deal with it a lot next video. These things are illusion gates. You'll see them coming up. First, we need to open up a drawbridge to get by.
What's that? It's a door. No. It's not.
I'm really impressed with the way this game looks, considering it's made by an indie developer. I like it when the voices in your head are encouraging you and happy when you do something. That's always a nice thing. So this is an illusion gate. I tried to show off that it looks different before you go through it. There's a path that opens up once you step through that illusion gate.
It's funny. We all want to see behind the veil, don't we? Once we do, we mostly just close our eyes again and pretend what we saw was never really there.
Not sure what that voice is talking about. I don't know how important any of the things that are said are to the story. I assume some are, but I really don't know.
Anyone never could close her eyes, however hard she tried.
Well, you know, sometimes begging doesn't really get you what you want. Unless you're a homeless person and you live in the city that I live in, and then they get pretty much everything they want. I'm surprised they're not building high-rise apartment condos for these assholes at this point. And no, I don't have sympathy for homeless people. Yeah, I know there are some people that are there because of things beyond their control, but
Things differently. Because once you gaze into the relentless darkness, all that lurks within it.
oh yeah.
See you too.
Hey, got a perfect guard there. Take that motherfucker down. Oh god. I really should have just waited and let him attack and did a perfect guard. I didn't do that. The problem with this combat is when you have multiple enemies attacking you at once. I get very confused when it comes to the controls for this. They're not hard or anything, it's just my own issue with the controls.
He's down. Finish it.
They make perfect sense, it's just sometimes I think I want to block or dodge and I get confused on the controls. Because I get so used to blocking or dodging that I forget the control for the other one I'm trying to hit. Hey, look at that. That's right. It can hide its wife, hide its kids, hide its husband, but we coming for it. Fuck that north wind.
Valravan's power of illusion comes from ravens. Align the ravens to break his magic seal.
Show me what you have seen, Truth.
We're going to hear a lot more about aligning the ravens next video. Thanks for watching, and I will see y'all next time with more Hellblade.